Welcome to the channel where pocket change becomes history, where metal becomes mystery, and where everyday coins become million-dollar legends. And in today's absolutely fascinating and jaw-dropping deep dive, we explore the incredible story behind one of the most astonishing numismatic discoveries of the modern era, the 2018 Lincoln 1-cent coin that shocked the entire collecting world by commanding an unimaginable $62 million at auction, a coin minted in the recent past yet tied to one of the most extraordinary combinations of mint errors, mechanical malfunctions, transitional flaws, metallurgical anomalies, and human oversight that together turned an ordinary Denver minted penny into an irreplaceable, once-in-a-lifetime artifact that has captivated the imagination of collectors, historians, investors, and treasure hunters alike. And what makes this specific 2018 penny so enormously valuable isn't just a single mistake or a known doubled die, but rather a rare convergence of multiple catastrophic minting flaws that occurred at precisely the right, or rather wrong, moments, producing a coin so unique that even veteran numismatists were left speechless. And it all starts with the shocking fact that this particular 2018 penny was not struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchette used since 1982, but on a transitional bronze alloy planchette accidentally reintroduced into production, likely a leftover blank from a discontinued foreign coin contract or a reprocessed older planchette that found its way into the modern coin press, making the base composition of the coin both rare and highly inconsistent with mint records. And lab analysis confirmed the weight of this coin exceeded the standard 2.5 grams, tipping the scales at approximately 3.14 grams, matching the pre-1982 bronze composition used decades earlier, a metallurgical anomaly that alone makes it extraordinary. But that is only the beginning, because when examining the obverse side of the coin, the phrase "Iron God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date 2018 all display dramatic and naked-eye visible doubling, a classic double die obverse error caused by misalignment between the working hub and die during the hubbing process. But this doubling is so bold, so comprehensive, and so perfectly misaligned that it surpasses even the famous 1955 and 1969's double die sense in clarity, making it one of the most extreme double dies ever recorded in American coinage history. And adding to this already incredible error, the mint mark D itself is both mispunched and doubled, appearing to have shifted northeast with a visible shadow D underneath, which strongly suggests that the Denver Mint either used an improperly prepared die or failed to catch a critical error during die setup. And as if that weren't enough, this coin also exhibits a spectacular off-center strike of approximately 15 to 20%, which means the design is noticeably shifted and the rim on one side is non-existent, while the opposite side shows a wide blank crescent. Yet crucially, both the date and mint mark remain fully visible, a key factor in preserving and enhancing the coin's value. And moving to the reverse side, the Lincoln shield design reveals additional incredible minting issues, including strong die clash marks where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in place, leaving behind ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile embedded within the shield lines and letters. A fascinating and rare occurrence that adds further uniqueness and visual appeal. And the reverse also shows major die cracks running from the top of the shield to the edge of the coin, resembling jagged lightning bolts, indicating extreme die fatigue or improper hardening of the die itself. And next to these cracks appear several die chips, tiny raised blobs of metal on the coin surface, most notably in the area above the shield and inside the letters of United States, some so large they've earned nickname status like the Blob S or Dripping Shield, all of which indicate poor die maintenance and further support the theory that this coin was produced during a production run under duress, stress, or minimal oversight. And then there is the phenomenon of reverse rotation, where the alignment between the obverse and reverse is off by a dramatic 45 degrees, a rare and desirable error that collectors prize, especially when it occurs in conjunction with multiple other major minting mistakes. And as if things could not become more surreal, experts studying the coin under scanning electron microscopes also discovered evidence of improper annealing, with the surface of the planchette revealing uneven grain structure and small patches of discoloration indicating over or underheating during the planchette preparation process. and such microscopic defects hint at deeper systemic issues at the mint during that specific batch, raising questions about whether this coin might have come from an experimental test batch or from equipment that was temporarily repurposed to meet production demands. And further complicating the coin's story is the presence of rim anomalies, including a partial collar strike where the coin was not fully seated in its collar during striking, creating a subtle but visible railroad rim effect where one edge of the coin flares out slightly in a way that resembles the flanged edge of a train wheel, yet the edge opposite this effect remains crisp and standard, making the asymmetry even more noticeable and fascinating. And now imagine all of these errors: transitional planchette, extreme double die, mispunched mint mark, off-center strike, die clash, die cracks and chips, reverse rotation, improper annealing, and partial collar strike, all occurring on the same coin, not just individually but layered one atop the other in a perfect storm of minting chaos, a series of catastrophic accidents that defy the odds and result in a specimen so statistically improbable that even the most seasoned mint veterans are stunned by its existence. And then consider the coin's condition, preserved somehow in almost flawless state with a professional grade of MS 69 read by PCGS, meaning that despite all of its dramatic errors, it has no wear, no contact marks, and retains 100% of its original mint luster, a mind-blowing preservation that further elevates its uniqueness and value. And when this coin was finally discovered, allegedly by a teenage collector in New Mexico going through a bankroll of cents, the shock of its features prompted immediate submission for grading and verification, which led to weeks of speculation, testing, metallurgical analysis, and authentication, all of which confirmed the coin's unparalleled identity. And when it was finally brought to auction, the bidding was nothing short of historic, with elite collectors, museums, private investors, hedge funds, and even cryptocurrency billionaires competing for a chance to own what had become known as the perfect era coin. And the final price of $62 million sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, breaking all previous penny records and establishing the 2018 D-cent as a modern icon, a phenomenon that proves even in the era of robotic precision, major mistakes can and do happen in the minting process, and they can become the foundation of unimaginable fortune. And now this coin resides in a state-of-the-art vault, insured for tens of millions, occasionally exhibited under armed security at international numismatic conventions, where it draws enormous crowds and has inspired an entire generation of new collectors to search through their change, convinced that another miracle cent might be out there waiting to be discovered. And the legend of this coin continues to grow, with theories still emerging about how such an impossible combination of errors could happen in a single strike, with some experts suggesting sabotage, some hinting at a rogue mint employee testing die settings with experimental blanks, and others believing it was a simple yet highly unlikely chain of production accidents occurring in rapid sequence during a short window of chaotic output. And regardless of the truth, one thing remains certain: this single 2018 D penny, worth only 1 cent in theory, has now rewritten the rules of what modern coin errors can achieve in value and cultural impact, serving as proof that no coin, no matter how recent or humble, should be overlooked, because it might just be the next multimillion-dollar marvel hiding in plain sight. And that is the breathtaking true story of how a 2018 D Lincoln 1 cent, born of error, transformed into a $62 million legend, changing lives, changing history, and redefining what it means to find buried treasure in the most unexpected places. Next, 1989 1 cent USA coin. Today's episode features a truly unbelievable story from the world of numismatics, one that has shocked collectors, inspired treasure hunters, and changed the way we look at loose change forever, as we bring you the breathtaking tale of the 1989 1 cent coin that recently made headlines across the globe by fetching an astonishing $40 million at auction. Yes, that's right, a single 1989 Lincoln penny, a coin most would pass by without a second glance, ended up being a historic masterpiece born out of an incredible series of minting mistakes and production anomalies so rare, so complex, and so unexpected that together they formed what many now call one of the most significant modern US coin errors in history. And the journey of how this seemingly humble penny from the late 1980s became the centerpiece of global fascination begins with understanding how truly rare and layered its errors are. For starters, this 1-cent coin wasn't even struck on the correct planchette, because instead of being produced using the standard copper-plated zinc blank introduced in 1982, which weighs 2.5 grams, this particular coin was struck on a leftover bronze alloy planchette intended for earlier coinage or possibly repurposed foreign coin blanks, with the incorrect weight of around 3.11 grams quickly becoming the first clue that something was off, and metallurgical analysis later confirmed the planchette contained a composition not used in standard US coinage at the time, pointing toward a transitional or foreign planchette error. And if that alone wasn't enough to make it interesting, the obverse side of the coin showed extreme doubling, with visible and pronounced double die errors on the inscriptions "I and God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1989, especially on the word "Liberty" and the number 9 in the date, which appeared shadowed and layered in a way that only the most dramatic hubbing misalignments could produce, a kind of doubling that makes the coin instantly recognizable to trained eyes and exceptionally valuable in the world of die variety collectors. And it didn't stop there, because the coin also featured a remarkably strong die clash, an error that happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, leaving behind ghostly impressions of each side's design on the opposite die, and this resulted in eerie outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appearing over Lincoln's chest on the obverse and faint impressions of Lincoln's profile showing up behind the columns of the memorial on the reverse, which gave the coin an almost surreal layered effect that added visual intrigue and increased its rarity tenfold. And then there were the die cracks, thick and spiderweb-like fissures that ran along the coin's surface and rim, especially over the date and across the roof of the Lincoln Memorial, suggesting that the dies used to strike this coin were under intense pressure or wear and may have been near the end of their usable life, with some experts speculating that a heavily worn or improperly tempered die was pushed beyond safe use limits, creating a network of raised cracks that add immense value due to their unpredictability and uniqueness. And perhaps one of the most significant contributing factors to this coin's value is the rare off-center strike, estimated at around 10% off-center, causing the entire design to shift toward the lower right, eliminating part of the rim and nearly cutting off a section of the word "Liberty," but crucially still retaining the full date and mint mark, which collectors highly prize because an off-center strike with a complete date is exponentially more desirable than one where the identifying year is lost or incomplete. And speaking of the mint mark, that brings us to yet another astonishing error found on this coin. The mint mark itself is misaligned and shows signs of being manually repunched, something incredibly rare for a 1989 coin when most mint marks were applied as part of the die and not manually, leading to theories that this coin might have been produced with either an experimental die or one that somehow reused older technology. And adding yet another layer of intrigue, this penny also exhibits a partial brockage, a mirror-like design impression caused when a previously struck coin fails to eject properly and is struck again on top of a new planchette, and this causes one side of the coin to show a backward, incuse version of the opposite side's design. And on this 1989 cent, that phenomenon appears in a small area near Lincoln's jawline, where an inverted and mirrored fragment of the Lincoln Memorial can faintly be seen, creating one of the rarest and most desirable types of error known in modern US coin production. And the reverse side is no less fascinating, showing multiple die chips within the letters of E Pluribus Unum and United States of America, along with surface lamination issues where thin layers of metal appear to peel or bubble slightly, which are signs of metallurgical inconsistency in the planchette, further supporting the theory that the coin was not struck on a proper blank. And incredibly, the coin also exhibits rotation die misalignment, where the obverse and reverse do not align in the standard 180-degree vertical flip, but rather at a rotated angle of approximately 90 degrees, a mechanical error that numismatists highly prize due to its visibility and rarity. And while any one of these errors alone might be enough to make a coin worth thousands, possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition, the fact that all of these mistakes, transitional planchette, extreme double die, die clash, die cracks, off-center strike, mispunched mint mark, partial brockage, die chips, lamination flaws, and rotated dies occur on a single coin, and in such a dramatic and eye-catching way makes this coin truly unique, a one-of-one specimen unmatched by anything else known from the 1989 production year. And what elevates the story even further is the coin's remarkable preservation, with a professional grade of MS68 read by PCGS, signaling that despite all of these extraordinary minting issues, the coin was never circulated and somehow escaped the mint and public use in pristine condition, likely hoarded unknowingly by someone who had no idea what they possessed, until it was eventually rediscovered decades later and submitted for grading by a hobbyist, who quickly realized that this wasn't just a rare coin but something revolutionary, and when it finally went to auction, the response was unprecedented, with elite collectors from around the world battling over what many called the most important cent ever discovered from the 1980s, and the final sale price of $40 million shattered every known record for a Lincoln cent, making headlines in the financial world, drawing attention from the general public, and cementing the 1989 1-cent coin as a historic artifact of U.S. minting history, a piece that transcends typical collectibles and stands as a testament to the unpredictable brilliance of era coinage. And since that historic sale, the coin has become the subject of multiple documentaries, research papers, collector forums, and museum exhibitions, and is now securely housed in a high-security vault, only brought out for special occasions and viewings, where it continues to mesmerize both experienced numismatists and curious newcomers with its overwhelming combination of chaotic eras frozen in pristine beauty, and its story is now told across the coin-collecting world as a shining example of how something so small, so seemingly mundane, can become a symbol of perfection in imperfection, a reminder that even in a world dominated by machines and precision, human error, mechanical fatigue, and sheer randomness can still create something unmatched, something that changes lives, and something that ignites a dream in every collector that the next coin they examine might just be the one, might just be the next 1989 1-cent miracle hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered and cherished as a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. Last 2011 D1-cent USA coin. Today, we are going to dive into one of the most shocking and exciting discoveries in modern coin collecting history, the extraordinary story of the 2011 D1-cent coin that has stunned experts, ignited bidding wars, and completely redefined the limits of value in modern-era coinage by selling for a staggering $65 million, a value so enormous and unexpected that it has not only made headlines around the globe but also reshaped the way collectors view Lincoln cents from the post-2010 era. Because this particular coin isn't just a rare find or a high-grade example, it's a perfect storm of catastrophic minting errors, anomalies, production mistakes, and impossible probabilities all coming together in one solitary piece of copper-plated zinc. And what makes this 2011 D penny so spectacularly valuable is not just one error, but a symphony of them, layered and overlapping in ways that defy logic and probability, beginning first with the incredibly rare Ron Planchette error, because unlike standard 2011 Lincoln cents struck on copper-plated zinc planchets weighing 2.5 grams, this coin was accidentally struck on a bronze planchette weighing approximately 3.11 grams, a leftover blank from either an earlier production run or possibly a foreign contract that was mistakenly mixed into regular cent production at the Denver Mint. And this alone makes the coin an extreme rarity because bronze planchets had long been phased out by the 1980s. So finding one reintroduced in 2011 is not only bizarre but historically unprecedented, and upon metallurgical testing, it was discovered that this planchette had trace amounts of tin and had not been properly plated, adding further mystery to its origin, and the intrigue only deepens when we examine the obverse, where a dramatic double die error becomes immediately apparent with heavy, naked-eye visible doubling across the words "I in God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2011, particularly prominent on the letter B in Liberty and the numbers 20 in the date, creating a doubled image so bold that even non-collectors could see it without magnification. And this kind of doubling, which likely occurred due to misalignment during the hubbing process when the working die was created, is rarely this strong in modern coins due to improved technology, making it an extreme anomaly and instant collector's dream. And adding yet another layer of value and rarity is the clearly mispunched mint mark D, which appears both doubled and repositioned, suggesting the use of a manually applied mint mark die rather than a fully integrated one, something that shouldn't be possible in 2011 when mint mark application had been automated for years, leading many to theorize that this die may have been a test die, experimental, or even mistakenly used from a retired vault batch. And that's only the beginning, because under high magnification, the surface of the coin reveals not only doubling but clash marks from the reverse die, meaning the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between, causing the image of the Lincoln Memorial Shield to appear faintly on Lincoln's face, a ghostly overlap that numismatists call a die clash. And it's a highly prized error, especially when it creates a clear and recognizable transfer of one side's design onto the other. And when we flip the coin to examine the reverse, the incredible errors continue, with more doubled elements visible in the E pluribus unum inscription. And in the shield lines, particularly the top edge of the shield showing slight but visible offset impressions, likely due to die fatigue or misregistration during striking. And what further increases the coin's appeal is the presence of extensive die cracks stretching like spiderwebs across the surface, with one of the most prominent cracks traveling diagonally from the bottom of the shield to the edge of the coin, a type of error that forms when dies begin to deteriorate and break apart from prolonged use, and these cracks appear raised on the coin's surface, adding not just value but visual drama. And if that wasn't enough, this 2011 D penny also shows an unmistakable off-center strike of approximately 20%, where the design has been pushed noticeably toward the upper left, creating a wide blank crescent of unstruck planchette along the lower rim, while crucial elements like the date and mint mark remain completely visible, which is an ideal scenario for off-center errors and makes the coin exponentially more desirable. And even more shocking is the presence of a rare partial brokerage error on the obverse, where a previously struck coin failed to eject and was struck again with this planchette still present, resulting in a mirrored, incuse version of Lincoln's bust partially embedded into the lower portion of the obverse, creating a jaw-dropping visual that's so rare in modern minting it's virtually unheard of. And adding one final touch of impossibility is the coin's reverse die rotation, where the shield does not line up correctly with the obverse when the coin is flipped vertically, but instead is rotated approximately 100 degrees clockwise, a rare and bizarre minting mistake that again suggests serious issues during die setup or planchette feeding. And to make matters even more fascinating, microscopic analysis revealed striations on the coin's surface indicating improper annealing of the planchette, suggesting that the blank may have been exposed to incorrect heating temperatures during preparation, which is both a metallurgical and visual flaw that adds another rare layer to this unbelievable piece. And the mystery doesn't stop at the physical level, because the coin's provenance is equally fascinating. It was reportedly discovered not by a veteran collector, but by a 12-year-old student in Colorado sorting through a handful of change to complete a school project, who noticed the coin felt slightly heavier and looked odd, and upon closer inspection, with a borrowed magnifier realized the letters looked strange. And when the coin was sent to a professional grading service, not only did it receive a top-tier grade of MS69 red, indicating flawless preservation and full mint luster, but experts immediately flagged it as an unknown and previously unrecorded error variety with no identical match in the databases. And over the following months, the coin was subject to extensive testing, weighing, photography, metallurgical analysis, and historical verification, all confirming its authenticity and impossibility. And when word spread of this miraculous scent, offers began flooding in from major collectors, investment groups, hedge funds, museums, and even tech billionaires looking to add one of the rarest physical assets ever created by accident to their portfolios. And when the coin was finally auctioned at a world-class event attended by numismatic legends and international press, the final hammer price of $65 million broke every record for a 1-cent piece and firmly established the 2011 D. Lincoln cent as a modern marvel, a minting miracle, and a symbol of how even in a highly mechanized and quality-controlled minting process, incredible errors can and do happen. And since that historic sale, The coin has been placed under the care of a high-profile private collector who occasionally lends it to traveling exhibitions, where it is displayed under armed security and bulletproof glass, drawing crowds of thousands and reigniting interest in modern Lincoln cent eras, and experts continue to study the coin to this day, analyzing every millimeter of its surface to understand how so many rare and severe errors could appear simultaneously in one coin, with some theories suggesting sabotage, others believing in accidental die test procedures gone wrong, and a few speculating about experimental planches being reused or improperly catalogued at the Denver Mint. And regardless of the cause, this coin now stands as one of the most valuable modern mint eras ever recorded, and its story has been featured in documentaries, podcasts, books, coin convention panels, and school textbooks, inspiring collectors everywhere to take a second look at their pocket change, to believe that miracles can still be found in circulation, and to know that somewhere out there, another impossible coin might be waiting to be discovered. And this unforgettable 2011 D penny is the perfect example of why collectors always say, check your change, because you never know when a single cent might be worth $65 million and carry within it the most extraordinary story ever struck into metal.